Hey everyone, we are going to start the VIP training today on how to reclaim your psychic abilities. So we're just going to wait for everyone to jump on, and then we're going to get on with this training for today. Hey Caroline, how are you? Gorgeous. Hey Ashley, I am so excited to run this training for you all. It is something that has been intuitively been channeling in for the last couple of days, or probably the last week. So I thought I would get this content out as a way to be able to help each and every one of you along your soulful and divine pathway at this point. So I know a lot of people constantly ask me about psychic abilities, and so therefore I wanted to share this knowledge with you all as a way to either encourage you or inspire you, and also to be able to help use each and every one of you, help to understand and recognize your psychic abilities, because we each have psychic and intuitive abilities. It doesn't, and I don't want this to come across as sounding a little bit rude or arrogant, but it doesn't make any person special to have them. We all possess them. We are born with them. They are our natural born gifts. We've just suppressed them, dismissed them, and sometimes even denied them because they are not a skill that anyone is taught how to use. But could you imagine if learning about your psychic skills or your psychic abilities at school at a young age, how different your life would be if you had that important information when you were really young? I think everyone's life would be a total game changer if that knowledge was available to us when we were really young. So today I wanted to come in and run through the 8 most common psychic abilities, the psychic skills that we all possess, as an opportunity for you to, maybe either tap into that skill more, learn more about it, understand how to develop it, and learn to own it and reclaim that skill back, and to be able to say, hey, this is my actual psychic skill. This is how I channel in intuition. To be able to just say that with so much pride, but so much from a really powerful place within, that just has that ownership to just go, you know what, this is how I receive intuitive guidance from both from my soul and from the universe. And this helps guide me through every single step in every area of my life. It would be amazing if we all learned to have these kinds of conversations, rather than hiding away, shrinking, feeling odd, strange, lonely, isolated. If you were to actually bring up that conversation with other people, feeling like I know a lot of people along the way have always thought that there was, potentially something wrong with them, yet something deep inside of you couldn't deny that you possess these types of skills. So today we're going to unlock those skills and really harness them and have some fun with them, and for you to be able to step into your power and really own what your psychic skills are by the end of today's session. So hey Jenny, hey Anne, hey Rebecca, how are you? Gorgeous. Hey Ashley and Caroline. So I'd love to hear if you have ever had a time in your life where you felt really odd through some of the things that go on inside your own self, whether you see things, hear things, feel things, see that glimmer of sparkly lights, or a shadow move through, and think, damn, I know it's there, but I'm not sure if it's there, and I am feeling like I'm visiting Crazy Town if I was to mention it to someone, because I know they would look at me even oddly, and that would just only tap into my lack of confidence that I already have around this. So thank you so much for the gorgeous hearts, love. So we're going to jump into this training straight away, and we're going to go through our psychic skills. all are through our clear senses. So each of the clear senses is a direct channel in which you receive intuitive information. Now, some of you that are on this live training, and for anyone that is going to listen to the recording, you may find that you connect with more than one of these, and that's perfectly okay. But I'm going to share with you the importance of really learning how to harness one of your clear senses rather than trying to learn them all, which we'll discuss a little bit further on. So I'm really pleased, Beck, that you've mentioned absolutely that you have felt at times that you knew things were going on, but you didn't really want to say anything to anyone. So thank you so much for just sharing that. And I'd love for each and every one of you, if you have any questions, throw it in the comments area. I'll answer them as we go along, because I really want for each and every one of you to go away from this training today to feel confident in the understanding around what these clear senses are and how to develop your psychic skills. So let's jump on in. So we hear about our clear senses, and they are clairvoyant, we have clairaudient, we have clairsentience, we have claircognizance, we have clairsalience, clairgustience, clairempathy, and one that's called clairtangency. So let's go through and dive in deeper and see what each one of those mean and how to use them. So we're going to start with the very first one, which is clairvoyant. Now, clairvoyancy is about being able to see images, objects, colors, shapes, through our third eye. So it's like an inner vision. So we see, this is for me one of my strongest senses. So if for me, I can share with you how I see it, and it may connect with you, but I'll also give you other examples. So for me, it's like I see a video player over in the front of my mind, but I'm standing back. It's almost as if I'm at a movie theater watching the screen, but I'm standing backwards, so I can see the image from a distance, so that I can see what's going on with it, and all of the objects, and whatever is, if it's objects, people, the theme, who's there, the scenery, it all stands out for you. Clairvoyance is about, at the very beginning, sometimes that information that comes through can be a snippet, almost as if the movie screen has gone very, very quickly. So therefore we sort of think, oh, geez, something just came into my consciousness, into my clear vision, but I didn't get a real grasp on what that was. You'll also find that for people that are clairvoyant, they not only receive their intuition through the visual component, but for them, they need to be very, very mindful of how much information is filtering in through your eyes. Because you receive intuitive information through your eyes, as well as the human information, there can be a bombardment of information that comes through. So you may find that when you have spent too much time around technology, either your eyes feel strained, they feel sore. You'll also know when you have overused, had too much sensory information coming in, because all of a sudden your eyes could feel dry. And the fastest way to reboot this sense is to just cover your eyes and or close your eyes, so that no external information can flood into your consciousness, just so that your brain can just sort of calm down, because you're receiving information. Everything you see is a sign or a synchronicity, has a message, has a meaning. So as you can think about it, we go through this world and we are constantly taking on information through our eyesight. It's really important to become aware of when there is an overload. And so therefore, sometimes just simply closing your eyes is the fastest way to reset this sense, so that it doesn't go into overdrive. Because if it goes into overdrive, everything just feels like everything is coming at you from everywhere you look. Everything seems like a sign, everything seems like a message, and therefore you're receiving so much information that you can't actually process the intuitive information, as opposed to just the human day-to-day information as well. So I'd love to hear if that is a particular sense that connects with anyone. Hey, Jean-Marie, how are you, gorgeous? So the next sense that we're going to talk about is clairaudience. Now, clairaudience is about receiving intuitive information through your ears, through the auditory oracle, so through the eardrum. Now, most people, and I want to share this because this, I still remember this and it still cracks me up to this day. When I first started developing that clairaudience sense, I thought that my guides, spirits, angels, my own higher self, my soulful self, that universe would come in and speak to me in a way that I would just know that it was them, almost as if you had this direct line of like a direct telephone line to God, where it'd be like, Rachel, this is your information. And I kept practicing this channel and I kept hearing this information coming through, but it was my own voice. And that really disturbed me because I was like, that obviously can't be right. So it must just be me talking to me. And I found out later on that 99% of people that receive clairaudient, their intuition through hearing, will sound like their own voice. So it's not you going crazy. People that receive intuitive information through the clairaudient channel are people that hold the space very, very well for each other. They are very mindful and take note of language, the tone, the volume, the messages that are said in the words that are unsaid, and they tune into that. They also receive intuition through hearing information just coming into them, almost just as if they've got, almost as if they're holding a phone to their ear and they're having a conversation. This is how they're receiving intuitive information. And this is where it's really important with this clear sense, is to not go in too deep with the conversations. Go in, listen to it, decipher what the message is, and then come back into that human brain and decide what you're going to do with that information. Whereas sometimes with clairaudience skilled peoples, they can go into a space of overthinking. They've received intuitive information, then they discuss it further and further, want to dive deeper, 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 until the stage where they've taken that information and broken apart into too many particles, and therefore don't understand or have forgotten what the direct message is. So it's really important for people that use the clairaudient to, one, make sure that not to become exhausted by environmental noise, to be very mindful of the volume. Like if you've got earbuds in, it really does affect you when the music is like screaming your eardrums, as opposed to clairvoyant people. They can have music and still receive intuitive information, whereas clairaudient people require a quiet place in which to be able to receive that intuitive information. And when they've had too much information, they require to just go off and find ways in which to switch off their mind to stop that channel of information coming in, so they can process this information. So the most important thing with clairaudiency, with that skill, is not to dive too deep above what your skill set is and lose sight of what the intuitive information is. So Sean Marie, can I've just seen that you've written, I heard a voice, but only when I am at perils, very few times, but precisely. Can you just explain what you mean by perils when you're in, like, is that, do you mean that when you're in more upset or overwhelmed or stressed? Is that what you mean, sweetie? Definitely, Anna. Anna's written, visual is different peak for different meanings. Definitely, everything will have a different meaning for visual people, and this is where we've got to learn to be able to interpret what that message means for you based on the information that comes in. So, hey Caroline, how are you, gorgeous? So the next clear senses we're going to talk about is clairsentient, which is clear feeling. Now, the one thing I want to share about this one is that clairsentience is clear feeling on a physical level. Okay, so that means that you get a gut feeling. It means that you are more prone to feel more aches and pains in your physical body. You can pick up the energy of others through your physical body that may not always be yours. You are someone that loves to touch. Your receptors in your hands, you're very touchy-feely, and that is super important, that when you have relationships with people, you love to, you have a laugh and you reach across and you touch them. People that are clairsentient, that feeling sense means that their skin, which is our biggest organ, which receives the biggest amount of information, because not only does it protect our inner shell, our inner world, from disease and from invasions of antigens and injury, but it's also there on the outside to protect energy filtering in. So the skin becomes very, very sensitive for people that are clairsentient. There'll be someone that would be very mindful of the types of clothing that they would wear, because certain clothing would irritate them. So they would be, hey Tegan, hey Sonia, how are you guys? Clairsentient people would like things that are more natural so their body can breathe. They usually wear more loose-fitting clothing because they don't like the feeling of tight clothes next to them, because it constricts their receptors to be able to pick up senses of other people. They'll find that sometimes that physical sensation can have a bit of a sensory overload, because with clairsentience, you feel something so deeply. You feel it deep into your soul when you have picked up a physical feeling about someone else that you're picking up, and it's very deep and true to yourself that you cannot deny, because you can be incredibly specific and go, and use a finger and go, I can feel it right there. Whereas if it wasn't so specific, you'd go, oh, I think it's sort of around here. So that's the difference when you are clairsentient, because you can be very specific as to the feeling, and you're very aware of what that feeling feels like. You can describe whether it feels heavy, whether it feels light, is it radiating, does it feel like it's in the muscle, does it feel like it's in the skeleton, what does it feel like? And so therefore they're very, very descriptive at being able to share exactly those feelings that are coming up. And as I said, they are someone that loves to touch. They'll usually be a type of person that, because they do love to touch, in some cases, now this is not for all, but in some cases they can also be prone to washing their hands or using those antiseptic hand washers. They'll have those in their bags all the time, because they can feel the dirt or dense energy on the ends on their hands so much, and because they love to touch people, they also are aware that they're picking up energy, but they're also aware that that they, in order to keep that sense really activated, they want to keep it as a clear channel. So you'll find that they're the type of people that love to wash their hands often. Alrighty, let's see what's going on. Hey Tegan, how are you, gorgeous? Now when I'm out about a face danger, I heard a dog open. Definitely, Jean-Marie, she's written that clairaudience is something that is really strong for her. And that one time when she was walking past a gate, a voice inside her told her to grab a stick because the dog was about to attack her. So that is so awesome that you are really aware of how your intuitive information comes through, and that you trust that information. That's so awesome. So you, Carolyn, touchy-feely. And that's why you'll start noticing certain, as you hear me talk about some of the characteristics about the clairsenses, I'm going to go in and share later on the significance of each one of these senses, okay, and how we can best use them. So, yeah, I'm so pleased that that is definitely connecting with you, and that you're ticking off that clairsentience as one of your skills, is one of your psychic skills, Caroline. You definitely are a clear channel for clear audience, Jean-Marie. I am loving this. And she also loves to wash her hands so much. But are you not in the, because you're also, are you not in the nursing industry also, Jean-Marie? So some of our, when we are touchy-feely, we will find that we want jobs that allow us to be able to express these clear channels. And that's so awesome that Caroline's written it's only once person made her feel this way, which was uncommon for me. I'm gathering that made you feel that their energy was not nice for you, and so therefore you stood away. And that's where it's really important to be able to understand, especially where you're clairsentient, to be really mindful to trust those vibes that come through. And because that is your direct line of intuitive channel to be able to receive your information coming through from your soul. So I'm really glad that you picked up on that, Caroline. Definitely, Tegan's asked, can you be clairsentient and clear knowing as well? Yes, you can have all. You can be ticking off some of the boxes in every single category, but it's about which I'm going to go through and dive in a little bit deeper. It's about defining which is your most predominant one. So I'm so pleased you asked that question because it's a really good question and one that a lot of people ask. Yep, and that is really common, the clear knowing, which is the next one that we're going to discuss it in a moment, Tegan. So that's awesome. So Jenny, you wrote, I knew when my nan had passed away as soon as you got to the front door. Is that because you got a feeling in your physical body, darling? Right, cool. Thank you so much for explaining a little bit more about that, Caroline, about feeling vulnerable. That's really important. And when you're clairsentient, to start becoming very aware of what these feelings mean for you. And each person is going to have a different symbolism or a different meaning for the feelings that come up. Now, some people may feel vulnerability, and other person might feel at that same time they may feel completely guarded. And that's why it's really important that one feeling is not a one size fits all, and to be able to learn to identify what each meaning means for you so you can start building a bank of knowledge. So the next time that feeling comes in, you're like, bang, I know exactly what that means for me. Cool, sweet, bang, go. And this is where we start harnessing and developing it more and more and more. Definitely, Tegan. That is the main reason that I, number one, wanted to share this mini VIP training today, because a lot of people do get confused, and it's understanding that there is, like anything, there are these perimeters in which we have for each clear sense, but each person can, you could have 10 people that are clairvoyant and they will have a different way in which they interpret it or how they use it. And this is where it comes back to being able to understand who you are as a person, because that plays an integral role as to how your clairsenses work for you. Because your clairsenses is communication coming from your soul. So your soul is communicating to you in a way that you understand. Now, if your soul was in another body, that person wouldn't know how to interpret that information, because that information has not been designed for them. So that's why, again, number one reason why I'm sharing this information, because it's not only about learning about your intuition, but it's and your psychic skills and your connection with the universe. But all of that sits within inside this human vehicle, and we need to find a gorgeous way for them to be able to unite. They're not a one size fits all, because each and every individual that walks this earth is gorgeously unique. And this is why I love to be able to share these with my students to help them fine tune how theirs works for them. So, because we have a broad spectrum, and then it's a matter of going, okay, well, you use this skill, but you use it this way, and you use this, and you use it this way, and this is how it works for you. And the moment you get it, it's like a light bulb moment. You're like, bam, now I know how to use it. And that is the most wicked feeling in the world, when someone you know gets it. I remember that being like that for myself, and it was just like, it's like this little, you know, when you see movies and you hear the angels in the background and they're like, oh, it's a bit like that. I am so pleased that you are just loving this conversation, Tegan, and that you're having light bulb moments. That's exactly what I wanted from this session. So, and I am absolutely adoring all the hearts, the thumbs up, and the interaction from every single one of you, because at least this lets me know that you're either understanding it, and I'd also love to know if you're not understanding it, so then I can come back with maybe a different delivery to help you unlock that knowledge, to be able to take away lots of aha and light bulb moments from today. So carrying on, thank you everyone, you're just so gorgeous. So carrying on, the next one is that we're going to talk about is clear cognizance. So clear cognizance is clear knowing. This is, you guys are the freaking bomb. I love yous. Clear cognizance is the most, I am going to be 100% raw and honest and transparent here and say clear cognizance is the most difficult clear sense to develop. Not so much develop, let me reframe that. It is the most difficult clear sense to trust and have confidence in. Why? Because you get a feeling or a knowing about something and you have no freaking idea why you know that. And so therefore you think, one, I shouldn't be doing that. Two, why is this getting this? And three, this is scaring the shit out of me because I just know shit about people and I can know it deep into the core of my being. And because and this is where the fastest way to develop this skill is through to collect evidence. Okay, if you've listened to a lot of my videos before, you would have heard me say to you that the brain is always looking for ways to collect evidence. So what I mean by that is, and so therefore it ticks it off on that box. You're either, and that's why I've been saying all of this week about affirmations, because we want to tick off the boxes that we're amazing. We want to harness that and we want to establish that in our mind. So our mind is like a computer and it has all these filing systems. So when you get that clear knowing and you lack trust, the only things that's going in that filing system is you don't trust it and that it scares the shit out of you. And the more that happens, the more that information goes into that filing cabinet and it stores inside your brain. What we want to do when we have got clear cognizance is the next time you get a gut feeling, keep that within yourself. Take a step back. So say, for example, you were to go and meet someone for the very first time and something in you was just like, this person is a total douchebag. Rather than act on it, we want to build evidence. So we take a step back and we allow that person to play out their role and do and speak and behave how they do. And you'll start getting ticks, 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 ticks of alarm bells, of being highlighted to certain things. You'll hear things in their language, how they act, whether they're fidgety. You'll become consciously aware of all that makes them them, as well as being able to, like, when you get that deep feeling, sometimes you can get a feeling like, there's something's not right. And so you stand back and you allow things to unfold. And every time something comes up where you go, see, that was why I got that feeling, you're looking for those alarm bells. You're looking for those things to tick off in the box, so that that tick off in the box goes inside that filing system. And the next time you get that clear knowing, your brain goes, now instead of not trusting it 100%, now I only not trust it 80% because I've now got 20% of ticks sitting in this filing system that's building more evidence that this is a skill for me to trust. So, and the other thing that I want to share with claircognizance. Now, because it is a skill that most people don't trust, we will usually find that we have an additional sense, an additional clear sense that we operate from as a way to get those ticks on the box. So like Tegan said before, she gets a clear knowing, but she gets a feeling. Now, Tegan, you've written that you get a clear feeling. You wrote clear feeling and a clear knowing. I probably bet you any money you get a clear knowing first, and then it is actually confirmed through a feeling that you get, and that becomes a tick on the box. And that helps when we use a different sense to come in with clear knowing. It is getting so say we've got clear knowing here, which is claircognizance, and so I'm just going to use clairsentience, which is clear feeling. Every time you get, using the example that I used before, if you meet someone and you just get a vibe they're not awesome, you can feel their vibe, it's really low, maybe dense, maybe feel dirty, whatever it is, they're ticking off the boxes, and that is harnessing and strengthening the claircognizance. So and we do that until such times as we have collected enough evidence with the claircognizance and put it in our filing system where we no longer need to have this clear sense to strengthen that, because we already have enough evidence to go, I already trust this. So that's how claircognizance work. And not a lot of people know that, because not a lot of people want to say that, because they go, oh, you just learn to know. You just learn to trust that deep inner knowing. Like a crock of shit you do. You do not. And so therefore that is whenever we have claircognizance, claircognizance, we will also have another clear sense, and the two of them operate together as evidence-based. So the feeling is only to build evidence for the claircognizant. If you're clairvoyant and that's your other one, you'll get vision. You'll look at, using the example, you'll get a vision. You'll see that person twitching. You can see they might have beady little eyes, and just see into their beingness, and that is ticking it off. Okay, but it doesn't mean that every time you get clairvoyance you're going to get clear knowing. I just need you to know that it's only when we're using clear knowing to operate on that clear sense that we use another clear sense to collect the evidence. So I hope that makes sense for everyone. Definitely, Caroline, we are all in tune with our intuition, and it is scary as shit learning about it, primarily because one, we've been taught that there's still really old paradigms around being psychic or intuitive. For me, it's always been, and the thing that I've always rebelled against, and the reason why I did not always step into that space when I was younger in my 20s, is because everyone at that time dressed like hippies, had hairy armpits, looked like they needed to be taken home, having a shower, wanted to sit around and freaking dance naked underneath the moon, you know, burning incenses 24/7, and all of that was just not my vibe. And so I thought, well, if I couldn't look like and live how I thought a psychic or an intuitive was, then I mustn't have been one. I was the opposite. I have shiny syndrome. I love shiny shit. I like nice clothes. I like to look nice. I was everything the freaking opposite of what that was. But the skills that those people possessed and what I had was exactly the same. But because there was no one else out there that looked how I did, I kept myself in the shadows for a very long time, because I felt like I didn't fit that mold. Yeah, as I said, I could not in any way, shape or form deny that all of the shit was going on inside of me. So there was a great deal of internal conflict, and that has always been my driving force. And my main mission at this point is to be able to help people realize that it's not that scary to step into it. It's just the unknown, and we're always scared of the unknown. But when we know something, we can no longer be scared from it, because this is where we become empowered, because we go, now I know this. Now how can I use it, and what are the things that I need to look out for, and how can I strengthen it? And then you start getting all these wicked cool ideas and suggestions, and start to have fun and play around, and that's where shit gets exciting. But we've always been taught that it was a little bit scary, a little bit dark, and don't trust anyone that says they're a psychic. And I remember, just a really short story, I remember being at Sarafa's a couple of weeks back, and I was going out, and the gentleman beside me, we're both on our phones, and we were just laughing at how life is all based around the internet, and how we cannot how we don't communicate that we used to. And we started talking, must have been there for about 5 or 10 minutes waiting for our coffee. And he asked me what I did, because I said my work is all online. And I said to him, I'm a psychic. And this is exactly what he did. He took his glasses down and he went, well, you don't look like one, do you? And it just cracked me up, because that was exactly my perception that I had. And I left there absolutely laughing my head off. And this is now 25 years I've been in this industry, but that old paradigm is still there. And that's why I'm share so much, to be able to help break this paradigm for all those people that feel like they don't fit that mold, for them to start to realize that there is a different mold and there is a new mold, and you don't have to mold to that old shit. There is wicked cool shit, and there is no such thing as any person looks like a psychic. None of the people that I know that are psychics or medium look like that old paradigm. They all look like regular people. They do the regular shit. They have families, they have problems, they drink, they love to get together, they go out, they swear, they curse. They're regular, everyday people. They've just learned how to harness this skill, not a gift, a skill, and have developed it and practice it. And like anything, if you practice and practice and practice, you get better and better and better. And that is the only difference between staying outside your comfort zone. Means you only tap into it once in a blue moon, so it always feels scary. But when you dive in and you practice and you have fun with it and you enjoy it and you talk with other like-minded people, that's where shit gets really exciting. And that is the biggest driving reason, because I find that it's still so sad that people are almost, for me, it's like being hidden in the closet like a gay person. A gay person will feel the need to come out in order to fully express and feel that they can be themselves. Well, that's what it's like being someone that's intuitive or psychic. They're hidden in the closet until such times they feel like they can find that right group, that right person, or overcome their fears. But once they do, the door opens and there is this full expression of them getting to be them in their entirety. So there's my little rant. So, thank you so much, Shaw Marie. Thank you, Rebecca. That's okay, Jen. Just jump back on, hun, when you've got internet. Definitely get the vibe straight away. Yes. And this is an old paradigm as well, because Joy Marie's just said because she had vibes about someone, her sister asked her if she did black magic. There is that small group of people that associate this to, burning people on the stakes, black magic, those type of things, being the fortune teller, the gypsy teller, things that are either dark or seedy, and this is why this is the time now for rapid change and to dispel those myths. So thank you all for sharing. So now we're going to jump in. So we've gone through clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentient, and claircognizance. The next one I'm going to jump into is called clairsalience, which is clear smelling. Now, this is not a skill that we use all the time. It's usually a clear sense, or And we receive intuitive information through the smell or the scent of something. And what that does is it activates a memory. It connects us to someone. It reminds us of a time and place and the emotion behind it. And that is where the intuitive information comes through. So I'm going to share with you a story how this works, because it's not something that we use all the time. Okay, so many years ago, my mum's best friend had passed away, and she'd always worn a specific dewberry perfume. And I didn't know that she wore dewberry at the time. And after she had passed away, I kept having this smell, and it was almost as if I would walk past, and it was almost like I just walked past this perfume bar of just dewberry. And because dewberry is a very, very sweet smell, I'm like, damn, like, what is that? And it just was so persistent over and over and over. And I don't know what made me do it, but I went, that smell is connected to my mom. So I was talking with my mom once, and I said to her, Mom, I've got this persistent smell and it's just not going away. And she said, what does it smell like? And I said, it smells like dewberry. Now, I also didn't know what dewberry smelled like. I didn't realize there was a perfume called dewberry. And my mum said to me, that was her best friend's favorite smell. And I said, Mum, have you been thinking about her, or is it her anniversary? And she said, yes, it's her anniversary, and I have been thinking about her heaps. And I said, this message is for you to let you know that she is okay, and that she knows that you're thinking of you. Now, this is how clear smelling works. It will activate a memory. It will, you could go somewhere and all of a sudden smell a particular food being cooked, and it might remind you of your nan that used to have you over on a Sunday afternoon for roasts, and all of your family would come together. But when you get that smell, that memory of that family connection, there may be one particular time and space that it brings you back to in your timeline each and every time, because inside of whatever was going on at that time and space and at that experience, there is a message there for you. So this is where clear salience comes up, and it can come completely out of the blue. So don't be surprised if or when it shows up. It's one of those completely random ones that we don't use all the time. Okay, but don't dismiss if you also do get a very, like when the sense comes in, it's not just like, oh, I can smell food. It's almost like the scent is wafted up your nose, and it's like just getting blasted in through your nose so that you can smell every single detail in that scent. Okay, so that is definitely. I'm sure Marie's said that when her father used to go on alcoholic binges, she could always smell it on him. So there would be that correlation, I would say, Jean-Marie, and I'm just throwing it out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if he went on drinking binges and you could smell it, that there would be events that would come after the alcohol binges that would come up. Definitely, Tegan. And the smelling senses is an incredible thing, and it does have a direct correlation to our brain. I did an essential oil course many, many years ago, and that particular senses activates different parts in our brain. It can activate memories. It can activate anything within us. It can invoke a feeling. It can invoke a thought, an emotion, shift our emotional states, hold us at emotional states. There is a beautiful way, and that's why clear salience is not one that we use, and that's why I made it really important that if and when it does come in, it's really important. Or you may feel really drawn to go and get just a particular essential oil that you want to burn because it ignites something within you. Oh, that's interesting, Beck. And did you receive the answer as to that question that you asked when you went within? Cool. Thank you so much for So when you would have got that smell, Jean-Marie, of your father about alcohol, it was preparing yourself for the aftermath of what would come, because as we know, when people drink, that alters their state. Very, very cool. Beck was saying that she tuned in and asked a question, why, when a young girl went missing many years ago, why? And what she got was that she got a very clear smell of grass and the taste of metal. And later on, she found that the young girl's body was found next to a train track. So this is why I'm saying, like, don't underestimate each one of these channels as to the type of intuitive information that comes through, because it's powerful shit. It's so very freaking cool. Hey, Jenny. That's okay, sweetheart. You'll be able to listen to the replay, but we've only just gone through since last time you were on was clear smelling, so you can go back and listen to that replay. The next clear sense that we're going to talk about, and we are going to run longer than the hour, so I do hope you all have time to stay on, and I do apologize. The next one that is another clairsense is called clairgustience. Now, clairgustience is quite similar to clair salience, clear smelling, but clairgustience is tasting. That some people, they can taste foods at different times, and it will activate receptors in their tongue that will, our tongue has lots and lots of receptors on us and has a direct link to our brain, so a direct link to our memories. So clairgustience can also, through tasting foods, can also take us back to a time and place, or with that particular food. And I always I think it's, you know, the most common one is that when you go to bake a cake now, if there's a particular cake that you love that your mum used to make and you're making it yourself, and you go get to eat the ingredients, and as soon as you just put the ingredients, the uncooked ingredients on your tongue, you're just like salivating and taken straight back to that time of when your mum used to cook that, and how amazing, you know, the smell and all of that would come in. So clairgustience is about the taste that comes through, and also too, as Beck said, like she had the taste of metal. Metal is a really good indicator as to, you know, being aware of when the taste buds change, because that's also intuitive information, because we have sweet, sour, bitter, and there is a fourth one, sweet, sour, bitter, and spicy receptors on different parts of our tongue. So if one of them are hyperactive, that can also have intuitive information for you. So it's also important to become aware of, if your taste bud change, that there's intuitive information there for you. Oh, that's gorgeous. Caroline's written, when her sister was diagnosed with cancer, we always shared the same fragrance and straight away had to go out and purchase it. That's gorgeous. And I love that, because my mum, oh, cool. Thank you so much, Beck. My mum wears Giorgio and Red Door, and I always say to her, they are her signature scents. I can smell her coming up the driveway just because of her perfume. And there is this beautiful connection that, as I said, and the same as Carolyn's mentioned, the memories of the scent of a particular person. So perfumes, when they say you get your signature scent, don't underestimate the memories that we leave behind with family members, or the memories that we have of someone because of a particular scent that they wear. Right, so we're going to move on to the next one, which is clear empathy. So a lot of people often ask me about being empathic. Okay, so empathic is a clear sense, but the difference with this is that clear sentience, we get a clear physical feeling. Clear sentient, we get an emotional feeling. We can tune into their emotions. We can tune in if to their vibration is pure. We can tune in to see through the BS, which is a very cool thing with clear empathy. We can tune into their emotions. The thing that is the most important with clear empathy is that you need to be able to understand that you are hooking in and a lot of the times it's unconsciously. When you use this skill and it is completely undeveloped, and it's like any other skill, it needs to be developed, because when it's undeveloped, it means that unconsciously you are connecting in like umbilical cords with every single freaking person you are coming in contact with, and then you wonder why all of a sudden you feel frazzled, you feel burnt out, you feel depleted, you feel like you just need to stay away from people and withdraw, because the moment we have umbilical cords binding our energy from theirs, from them to us, they have a direct link to be able to hook into our energy and drain our energy. So looking after your energy and protecting it is absolutely pertinent with clear empathy. And it's not a do once and a once only, because that shit ain't gonna work. It's about learning it to do it like anything consistently every single time for months and months on end, until such times as you have built like your own natural force field. Now, when I started off, as a lot of you are aware, I was a hands-on therapist for many, many years. So I did remedial massage, healings, teachings, Reiki, crystal healings, lots and lots of stuff I did as a hands-on healer. And so many people used to say to me, why is it that you never get exhausted? And this is why. Because I practiced so freaking much on how to protect my energy, because I wanted to be able to do what I loved for as long as what I wanted to, and not feel that someone else was, that I was connecting into their energy. So I practice, I would say, for probably at least a good 8 or 9 months, 2, 3, 4 times a day, practice, made sure that it was there. If it wasn't, go in and clean it, then put that shield back up. It was something I did all the freaking time. Now I very rarely need to do it, because I only have to think of my anchor word, and my unconscious and my soul knows that anchor word means protection. Boom, and it's done in a second, because I have practiced it. And so therefore I believe I just have like this natural force field, and if that force field ever gets permeated, it's usually 1, I'm tired, 2, I haven't been taking care of myself, things around lack of self-love. So if that ever happens, that's again an intuitive information for me to go in and go, your defenses are down, what is going on? So when anyone says that they're empathic and they can't go out, that's only because that's what they've been told, because that's all anyone ever says out there. Most people go, I'm an empath, and it becomes this wonderful excuse to go, I'm an empath, I can't go to restaurants. I'm an empath and I can't go to the movies. I find it so difficult to go to the shopping centre or go to, fates or anything, because there's just too many people. That is an undeveloped empath. Let me tell you that now. It is undeveloped. The moment that you develop it, you can differentiate it, because otherwise you start to not be able to understand what are emotions, what emotions are yours, and what are someone else's. And I think as humans, we have enough shit going on within our own self without taking on board anyone else's crap. Thank you, Jean-Marie. So the next one that I want to talk about is called cleared tangency. Now, some of you may know this one as psychometry, which has been able to hold objects. And for anyone that has watched that, Tyler, I think his name is Tyler Henry, the psychic medium for celebrities on TV. He will go in and he will ask people for any objects that they feel drawn to give to him. And he will hold that object, and therefore he can receive intuitive information on that person, pick up events, experiences, that life of that person through that object. So the clear tangency is also known as psychometry, and you'll find that there are a great deal of people that can either, hold just any object of any shape or form, because intuition is energy. So therefore, if you hold an object, as we know, objects hold energy, we pick up on that energy vibration and can read the information coming through that way. So again, someone that is a clear tangency will also be someone that would wash their hands often. Some of them are not touchy-feely because they can't pick any object up and therefore read energy. So it's something that you would want to develop. And that one comes with practice. And that one can be a lot of fun. And clairtendency is something that we use when using oracle cards, because we use the chakra. We have 2 chakras in our hands, and they activate energy, and therefore they become like an extra sense for reading energy. So when we're playing with oracle cards, that's why it's so important to make sure that you are cleaning and clearing your oracle cards all the time, because you are transferring energy. Anything that is going on with you is transferring through onto your cards. You put them down. If you don't clean and clear them, the next time you pick up, it's not going to give you a clear and accurate reading, because it's still got the old vibration from the last time you picked them up. So you will see every time I pick up my cards, I'll always hit them, knock them, and then I'll shuffle them. And that's my way that I clean and clear them every single time, as well as obviously a lot of other deep cleansing things that I do. And I can pick up my cards and know if they feel dense or heavy, or if they feel sticky. I'm aware of that, because that is also like psychometry, the clairtendency, because you can feel the vibration within your cards. And when you pick up your cards, you want them to be buzzing and just like alive, because they are an energetic format. So we need them to be a clear channel to give us the most accurate and clear reading from our soul. So definitely. Thank you so much for that, Tegan. Tegan does Reiki, and she says she doesn't get drained from the Reiki, but from the soulful conversations. And that's because you deeply tuning into their emotions, deeply tuning into their vibration. And through that, so using a bit of that clear empathy, you're leaving that umbilical cord. And so therefore that, you know, because whenever you do Reiki or any type of hands-on types of healing shit, when you've learned to protect yourself, you will actually have the adverse effect. Instead of being drained, and that's where you'll know that you haven't learned to protect yourself and you are not looking after your own mental, emotional, because you'll feel fried in your head. Your energy levels will be depleted, but you'll also feel physically tired too. So on a mental, emotional, soulful and spiritual level, you become depleted when it's undeveloped. But when you have this really awesome force field, the energy that you pick up from other people when doing on hands-on work, you can transmute the energy that you've picked up from this and transmute it into positive energy. So by the time you finish your session, you should be vibing wickedly, like bouncing off the walls. That is when you know that you've developed it really well. And that is what you want. So therefore you get to keep doing all the things that you love to do without having this drainage going on, because an umbilical cord, that's just the way I like to see it, is a direct line where they get to, not only are you tuning in to feel their energy, but they're also getting to emit all their energy onto you. And that's what happens with people that are empath, is because they will always usually find people that are down and out, and they will have all the people that want to come and talk to them and share with them their problems, their dramas. You're the go-to person for everyone. They leave seeing you feeling wicked and awesome, and you on the other hand feel like that you just feel like roadkill. So that is also another sign to be very, very conscious of. So in your case, Tegan, my biggest suggestion is to be really conscious that once you've created that beautiful protection field, to also set that intention that as you talk with every single client, that you actually unhook from their energy the moment they leave. And you just do that really quickly. It doesn't have to take ages. You just set that intention. I unhook my energy from this particular client. There is no energy binding us together. And feel it just completely unhook and dissolve. And boom, that's how easy it is, honey. And see if that works. Now, remember, this is something that will take time because you're so used to connecting in this way. Remember, connecting while they're there, disconnect when they leave. And therefore, you should find that your energy level should come back to much better, a much more equilibrium for you, hun. My pleasure, like Tegan. Definitely, Jean-Marie. With using the clairtendency, the psychometry, holding someone's ashes, yes, you can definitely pick up on their energy. Any object that comes from a deceased person, you will always be able to read their vibration if that is your clairsense that gets worked. Okay, so now we've gone through and one that doesn't usually get really spoken about and is not really actually described as a clairsense, which is telepathy, telepathy is when you just think to yourself, hey, I've been thinking about that person, and they give you a call. Hey, you've been thinking about that person, they knock on your door. You think about that person, or you think about an experience or a situation, a place, or a person, so a person, place, situation, or an experience, and all of a sudden, if that information doesn't come directly from that person, someone else will bring that up. So that's clear telepathy, where you can tune into the energy of people, place, situations, and experiences. Now, remember, when we use clear telepathy, one, it's to let you know that they're either going to pop over. I always say this is my belief, and I can only share my belief in it. I wish for you to develop your own truth around this, okay? So I'm not saying mine is the only thing. For me, I've always believed clear telepathy was to give you a warning, an indication of what's to come. So if all of a sudden you're like, hey, keep thinking about that person, if you don't make contact with that person, they're going to get in contact with you. If all of a sudden an experience starts popping up into your head, then there is something unresolved in that time that you need to go back and have a look, go through and clear it, and remove yourself from that situation, get a new perspective. We have these things brought into our awareness to warn us that these situations are going to come back up again, or the lesson from that experience with that person, place, situation, or someone's going to get in contact with you. That's why we have clear telepathy. And yes, we can be creatures of habit, Caroline. So these are the clear senses that help us develop our psychic abilities, with the extra one that I threw in, which was telepathy. So I'll quickly go through them. Clairvoyance, which is our clear vision. Clear audience, which is clear hearing. Clear sentience, clear physical feeling. We physically feel other people's physical reactions within inside of our own body. Clear cognizance is clear knowing. You deeply know within the depths of your soul, you know shit about people, but you don't freaking know why. And again, when we have clear knowing, we will usually activate another clear sense to become the one that ticks off the box to strengthen our trust with clear knowing. Our next one is clear salience, which is clear smelling. Clear gustiance, which is clear tasting. Clear empathy, which is clear feeling on an emotional level. And clear tingency, which is psychometry, being able to read the energy and pick up intuitive information through touching and picking up objects. And the very last one, which I threw in there because I believe it should be part of this, is telepathy, which is being able to connect in with people with their energy as a form of communication to either warn us, let us know that situation or experience is going to crop up, or to connect with someone. So the reason I wanted to share this with you all is it's awesome to know about this, but what do you do about it? The number one thing that I share with my students inside of my program is learn to understand what is your strongest clear sense. Now, as I've probably told you, I use each and every single one of them. But if I tried at the beginning, at the beginning I could see things, I could hear things a little bit distorted. Feelings were a big deal. I knew stuff. That was a big deal. But you will always have, it doesn't matter how many of them that you have, the most important thing if you want to develop your psychic skills is to understand what is your strongest and most dominant clear sense. Why? Because there is a lot of ways to be able to explore how to develop that sense. And if you're trying to develop 4 of them at the one time, guess how much energy is going to it? Very little is going to each one of them. And some of the others, say you've got 4, I'm just going to use that as an example, and you have 1 strong one, you have got 3 opportunities to be expelling energy, and they're all at different ratios. So you could be using your dominant sense about 40%, you know, the other one at 20%, 10%, and 5%. That's a whole lot of energy, and none of them are actually accelerating at any great rate. You're only just sort of going up a little bit, coming back down, going up a little bit, coming back down. And if you're not using all of them at the same rate, then you're expelling energy, and put it point blankly, you're wasting your time and energy. You're not going to get the results you want because you are channeling your energy in too many areas. The most important thing about how our mind operates is that if we can do one thing and do one thing very, very well, we can replicate that same strategy, understand what your process is, because remember, as I said to us, we have, with our intuition, we have our human part, we have our soulful part, we have our universe. So the soul and the universe has got to learn to co-create with the human part of ourselves. So we need to be able to understand how your intuition works for you. There is a process. Understand that process, learn it, develop it, strengthen it, get really, really good at it, and then you replicate that same process because, one, you understand how you work, you've trialed and tested it, you've got really good results with the first clear sense, then you replicate it with the other. And you'll find that this will start working. The moment you start strengthening one, all of a sudden the next one that is the next strongest one for you will start coming in. And that gives you an indication that you've nearly learned everything. Now it's time to take that process that you've learned, replicate it here in this next clear sign, strengthen that. And therefore you have 2 really strong ones. And then if you want to, you replicate it again with the others. So this is why it's super important, because when we understand what our strongest clear sense is, we also get to learn more deeply about ourselves. Learning about your clear senses are more than just being able to understand your own self on a soulful level. That's a wicked cool thing. But it also helps you learn to understand who you are and how you operate as a human. And it helps you get those light bulb moments. It helps you to be able to co-create and bring your human and soulful part together and unite them. Because most of the time, the reason we lack trust and the reason we lack confidence around developing our psychic skills is because our soul knows exactly what we're supposed to do. Our soul has been in physical bodies many a times over. Very rare to come across a newbie. So your soul has been here many, many times over. It also understands what your soul contract is. The human part of yourself, on the other hand, it's the first time it be's here. So if I always say that the soul is like the parent, the human is like the uncontrollable toddler at 2 or 3 that just wants to do its own shit and doesn't really listen and wants to learn through experience and then complains when shit keeps happening over and over and over again. And it takes time for the soul and for the human to unite and develop a good relationship. And that is the whole idea. And this is how we get more and more and more comfortable, because a lot of the times we trust our skills and we trust these intuitive information that comes through. The part we don't trust is the human part of ourselves, because it's usually 9 times out of 10 fuck shit up many a times over. And I bet you many of you, including myself, have a memory bank of a filing system that have plenty of fucked up shit moments done. Tick those off many a times over. But what we want to do is we want to enmesh them. We want them so there is more harmony, so that not only do you trust yourself as a human and the choices you make, because you're making them because you understand who you are on a human level and on a soulful level, and therefore we start to make decisions differently. We start to be more aware because we don't have this push and pull. We don't have this conflict going on with one another. And that can only happen when you learn to develop your clay senses. And these are your psychic skills. So the last thing I really want to share with you is, I hope that from today, not only have you got many things that have ticked off the box, it's giving you lots of information for you to walk away from, but the one thing I would love for each and every one of you to be able to radically change is, most people see that psychic abilities or psychic skills is a gift. Now remember, at the very beginning of this exclusive mini VIP training, sounds so great when you say it like that, that I said to you that every single person is born with these skills. When we choose the words that they are a gift, guess what happens? We give that shit away for free. We deny it, people abuse it, we don't trust it, and we feel like we're supposed to give everything away, which depletes you. You don't get to learn how to develop your own self, and we devalue ourselves. Intuition and psychic skills is a skill that every single person can develop if they choose to. That is the only difference between someone that's a beginner and someone that's an advanced, like is a psychic medium or a psychic or does oracle readings. The only difference between those two is the amount of practice and time that they've put into developing that skill. You are the gift. You are the gift. If you choose to share your intuitive information with people, that is the gift. You, not the skill, you. So therefore, you get to choose who you want to share this amazing skill with, because there's a lot of people that don't value it. So why, I'm going to just call it as I see it, don't fucking waste your time trying to beat your head against a brick wall with people that are not wanting that. Permission is most important. Whenever you have intuitive information, always ask for permission. Now, you would have seen me when I do Tune In Tuesdays. You will hear me say many a times throughout my session, please simply type yes in the comments box if you would like a reading. That is my way of asking for permission from that person if they wish to receive that intuitive information. There are a lot of people that are still in this day and age that walk up to random strangers and go, I've got some information for you. Can I share it with you? And can't understand why other people stand back and go, one, I don't know who the hell you are. And two, no, I don't want to know that shit. What people don't understand is when you don't ask for permission, that's rude, it's obnoxious, and it's not valuing yourself and not respecting you or the other person. Remember, not everyone is open to this type of information. Always ask for permission or listen for those cues that they're interested in wanting to know more. So remember that psychic and intuition is a skill that can be developed. The next is, the psychic and intuition is a skill that can be developed. You are the gift, and always ask for permission or listen out for those cues to be able to understand that there is a way in which being able to deliver this information that's not intrusive, rude, or oversteps other people's boundaries. And that's where it's super important, okay, to always remember that. And there are lots and lots of gorgeous, delicate ways that you can do that. If I'm ever with if I'm actually with friends, well, not that when I am with friends, if something does come in, because I do choose to tune out or switch that skill off when I'm just with my friends and family. But there are always moments that it comes in, rather than going, hey, I've got this information for you, because instantly it just makes people go, shit, there's obviously something wrong. I'll wait for a conversation to come up that is around that type of information and go, oh, have you ever thought of this? This is a way in which you can deliver intuitive information without it being rude or intrusive or without setting off alarm bells for people. It scares the shit out of people. It doesn't matter how advanced the spiritual and soul realm industry is, it still scares the bejeebers out of a lot of people. And so therefore we want to demystify that. We want to break those old paradigms, ask for permission, and there are delicate ways that you can share intuitive information. So I am so pleased everyone has loved this experience, and oh, thank you so much, Caroline, for the best reading you've ever had. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Tegan has written, money is the exchange for the skill. At the end of the day, I'm very, very, I'm really honest about that. I think that's a spiritual industry way to fucking just, I'm going to be really honest here, fuck shit up. My husband goes to work. He doesn't work for free. My son goes to work. He doesn't work for free. My daughter goes to work. She doesn't work for free. When you do the skill and it's part of your business, why should you not be paid for it? You've usually done training. You've usually been educated. That's cost you money. It's a way in which you choose to run a business. People need to understand that in the spiritual industry, if you are doing this type of work, you are a business owner. No one gets up and runs their business for fucking free. Bills need to be paid. So why should the spiritual industry be any different than anyone else? And I'm really very, very, very honest about that. And I don't think you need to put any airs and graces on it. At the end of the day, I get electricity into my house, so I pay for it. I drive my car, so I need to put petrol in it. If someone wants to come for me and receive the skills that I have, there's a cost factor involved in it. It's just that simple. I think when we try and make crap out like, it's this beautiful exchange. Of course it's an exchange, but I don't sit there and go to my husband when he gets paid out at the end of the week, what a beautiful exchange for you going to work. No, it's just like, well, you freaking deserve it. This is no different. This industry is no different. So I hope that doesn't give you any offense at all, Tegan, but I think that there are a lot of things within the spiritual and wellness industry that just like to blow smoke up people's backsides, and I'm pretty sick and tired of that. And I think that also helps us undervalue ourselves by saying it's a beautiful exchange. No, you've done a skill, so you should be paid for it, like any other industry in this world, and they don't think about it. I don't think that this industry should devalue themselves anymore. It's about time of becoming into a space of empowerment, recognizing your value, seeing that you have these amazing skills. And that is why it's so important to shift the word from gift, because when we gift, want to give that shit away for free. When someone gives you the gift, they've given you something. If you see that these skills are a gift, what are you going to do? You're going to give it away, and when you're going to feel bad about receiving money. When you have a skill, this is your skill set. You've studied, you've educated, you've got all of this amazing knowledge that's cost you time, energy, and effort. And therefore, when someone wants to receive that skill, there is a payment involved. It's just that simple. We don't need to complicate things or make it sound that, we should give this shit away for free. It's a beautiful skill. So thank you so much, Caroline. And I think that definitely, Jean-Marie, empowerment time is now for sure. It's time for us to step into this space and claim who we are. And that was, I hope that every single one of you have thoroughly enjoyed today's session today, and I have an exclusive offer just available through now until Monday at 10:30, which is if you would love to be able to learn how to develop these psychic skills, if you would like to dive deeper into exploring who you are, if you would like to get to know yourself on a deeper level and have that beautiful unity between that human part, that soulful place, for you to be able to own and claim who you are in all of your entirety and embrace the shit out of it, then I'm offering a one-time offer between now and Monday at 10:30. The offer will come down, which is to join my new branding for my new program that I have read that I am relaunching right at the moment, and it's called the Sacred Oracle. So this is a 12-week program which will teach you, one, about how to read oracle cards, about how to develop your, when we want to learn about our intuition and psychic skills, we need to be able to have an object. We need to be able to have a tool in which we can practice with, and this is where oracle cards become in. And remember, as I said, we're always looking for evidence to collect to build that trust and confidence, hence why we use oracle cards to develop that level of confidence, that level of trust, so we can keep ticking off. And because we have something tangible in our hands that we get to see the evidence, we have more confidence and trust in seeing the development that we have. So there's one component within the program which is about reading oracle cards. So therefore, if you wish to, you can choose to go on and do it on a professional level if that's what you would like. But you can still use it every single day for your own self, for every area of your life. The other component within the program is about how to develop your intuition. As I said to you before, intuition is about understanding that there is a process. Developing your psychic skills, there is a process. When you understand what your process is, you strengthen it through replication, through doing it over and over and over and over again until it becomes an unconscious act. So you don't actually have to think about all the tiny micro steps. You just go bang, 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 and you get that information just like that. And therefore you can replicate it with the others. So there is all about developing your own psychic and intuitive part. And the third part is always about the soulful healing. Every single person that walks this earth will forever in their lifetime have experiences that come up that we don't need to hold on to. We also have, and if many of you have listened to me before, you would have heard me say this expression before, no one gets through life unscathed. Everyone has stuff. So the more that we get to clear away those old energetic distortions that are creating a disruption within our energy and with our intuition, like I've been saying the last couple of weeks, the more space we create, the more available space we have to strengthen and develop our intuition. So there is a potent transformational healing part within the program, so that you get to clear all your shit. You get to understand what the messages are, understand what the healings are, to get that emotional mastery. So therefore you can never erase the memories. But when we go through that deep healing phase, we can have those experiences pop into our consciousness, but we are no longer activated or triggered by them. That is when we know that we have done that full completion of cycle of healing, and therefore they're no longer a hindrance that is densening our vibration. So for this exclusive VIP training, I have put together a one-off offer, which is 10 monthly payments of $250 a month. And that will, or if you would like to, there is also a pay in full option for anyone that would love that. So if this is something you would like to learn more about, you'll find a link, and there is a page with all the information. I've just finished creating it last night, so you'll be able to go along and have a look at all of the lessons that are involved. That's something that I've also never done before, but this time around I'm sharing all of the modules that are involved, so you have more of an understanding as to what you'll learn inside of the program. It's something I'm really deeply passionate about. I feel like it's part of my mission to help each and every one of you get to that soulful place that you want to feel comfortable on your own skin, to stop hiding, but on more deep, intimate level, get to know your own self at a real, true core level. Because I tell you, when you do that, you'll discover so much more wicked shit about your own self that we hide from. We not only hide the crap, but we also hide the good stuff. So we spend a vast majority of our time just hiding. It's now time to unleash that and step into your greatness. So I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you joining me today. I am so pleased, Jenny, that you've struggled with a lot of stuff that you've been told, and I hope that you have the be able to walk away with a lot of aha moments. You'll find that this information will go through and process more and more deeply over the next 24 to 48 hours. The video, the Facebook Live will stay up for a short period of time up until Monday as well. And then I am unsure whether I will take that down as well on the Monday when the time finishes, which is 10:30 for this offer. But please, if you feel that you want to go in and re-listen to it over and over, take some notes, anything like that, please feel free to. Remember, the more that we listen to things, sometimes we hear something that we didn't always hear the first time round. And just keep a pen and paper handy and write it down. And therefore, you don't have to clog our beautiful brain with so much information. We can actually just go in and process it and find those gorgeous magical moments that are in this Facebook Live. So again, thank you to each and every one of you. I have loved doing this for you. If you have any questions, either leave it in the comments area, but if you would like, feel that you want to have more of an intimate conversation, please feel free to send me a message through Messenger. Otherwise, be kind, be good to yourself, but always remember, your intuition and your psychic skills are skills. They are turned on 24/7, 7 days a week. We are receiving information all the time, and all of that information is helping us to unlock all of the magic that is within you. And that is the gift. You are the unique gift, and it's time to rise and shine and let that just create like its own lighthouse out there in the world, so that we can all become beacons on a collective level to help everyone rise into this new collective consciousness. So much love, take care, and as always, be good, be kind to yourself, and remember, always believe in your intuitive psychic self.